Welcome back to the Docker Basics section of the Getting Started with Docker course. In this lesson, we're working on controlling our running containers. Let's go back over to PowerShell and let's do a quick inventory of where we're at. So Docker images, we have 4 images currently. We have the one that came with Docker. We have the hello world. We have our HTTPD, which we then use to build upon for hello Docker. Then we also have our Docker ps-a, which shows us that we have a hello Docker version 1.0.0 that's currently running. So it's been up for 5 minutes. And the hello world down here, which is the first thing we started with, exited 34 minutes ago. So we've got those 2 images, only one of which is currently running. So let's clear the screen and let's talk through how do we deal with these things? How do we work with the applications? Now, just again to kick us back off, if we refresh this page, even do a control refresh, it's still up and running on our hello Docker people. But if I do Docker ps there's Docker ps, see the currently running ones. Our container ID starts with AEF. Now these IDs are unique, but the cool thing is when you're referring to an image or a container by their ID, you don't have to type the whole thing out. You just have to type enough so that you don't have more than one option returned. So if you had 2 containers that start with AE, then you couldn't just type AE. Typically what I recommend is type the first 3 letters, and that should be enough to be unique on your local machine. Now, obviously, if you have a huge Docker farm, and you have lots of images, lots of containers, and all that kind of stuff, you'll probably have to do more than just 3, but maybe not more than 4 or 5. But in this case, I want to say Docker stop AEF. All right, so that's our Docker container, our hello Docker container. If I hit enter, it just says AEF. What does that mean? Well, if I do Docker ps again, nothing's listed. If I say Docker ps-a, it says that our hello Docker exited 10 seconds ago. So Docker is now shut down. If I go back over to my web page and I hit refresh, it's going to time out trying to connect to that web page. So it can't be reached. So now we have a stopped container. Well, but what if I didn't want it stopped? What if I come back and say, you know what? Now that I had a lot of heavy work to do and I didn't want a web server running in the background, which doesn't take a whole lot of memory, but let's just say it did. I didn't want that running in the background, but now I need it again. No problem. Docker start AEF. This is AEF again. If I do a clear screen and say Docker ps, I now see that I have a container that was created 8 minutes ago and is now up for the past 5 seconds. And if I come back over to my web page and I hit refresh, it's now back to hello Docker people. Okay, so really easy to bring back up. The cool thing is if for whatever reason, and it shouldn't have a problem, but let's just say something weird went on where it just kind of clogged up or something's not right, and you're pretty sure that it's a temporary thing because we don't write to the container. We don't make changes to the container internally. So it should be that, when in doubt, reboot. Well, we have the same thing for containers. Docker restart AEF. What it's going to do is it's going to shut the container down and it's going to start it back up. Now this may take a little bit longer. Notice it is. And we'll see once it does, we're going to check the status and it's done. Let's do the Docker ps is running, but now it's been running for the past 4 seconds because it restarted and now it's been running for 4 seconds. And now you can come back over to the web page and just verify. If I hit refresh, it's still there. So those are our 3 commands that we can use to work on our containers. We can have Docker stop to stop a running container. We have Docker start to start a stopped container, and we have Docker restart to reboot a current container. Okay, those are your 3 commands to work with to get going or get stopped a container. And that's really all there is for this lesson. I want to kind of break it up in different pieces so you can come back and look at these lessons individually. But now what we're going to do is, in the next lesson, we're going to tackle the idea of what if you want more than that one page? Or what if you wanted to, change the image you worked with so that we have maybe a little more stuff on the page, on our HTML page. We can't just modify the HTML page itself because it's inside that container and kind of locked in there. But we can create a new version. We're going to do that in the next lesson.